Welcome back to Morbid Media, where we explore the darkest corners of human nature and the most unsettling true crime stories. I'm your host, Liv. Today we're delving into the disturbing and heartbreaking case of the Turpin family. This is a story about unimaginable abuse, survival, and the resilience of the human spirit. On the 14th of January 2018, in the quiet suburb of Perris, California, a courageous 17-year-old girl named Jordan Turpin made a desperate bid for freedom. She escaped from her home and called 911, revealing a tale so horrifying that it shocked the entire world. I'm going to play a snippet of the call now.
911 emergency, what are you reporting?
Help.
This is 911, do you have an emergency?
I just got away from home because I live in a family of 15, okay? Can you hear me? And we have abusing parents. Did you hear that?
Okay, how did they abuse you?
Okay. They hit us, they throw us across the room. They pull our hair, they yank out our hair. I have my two little sisters right now are chained up.
Okay, how old are you?
I'm 17.
What's your name?
Turpin.
A second dispatcher picks up.
Hello?
Oh yes, I'm still here.
This call was the catalyst for a series of events that uncovered the horrifying truth about the Turpin family. David and Louise Turpin had imprisoned and tortured their 13 children for years, hidden behind the facade of a devout Christian family. But how did it come to this? Let's just take a step back and examine the background of the Turpin family. So David Allen Turpin was born on the 17th of October 1961 in West Virginia. Information about his early childhood is relatively sparse compared to the extensive details available about his later life and criminal activities. However, some key aspects of his upbringing and background have been documented. He grew up in a religious and disciplined household. His parents, James and Betty Turpin, were known to be strict, and the family was deeply involved in the Pentecostal church. This religious influence was a significant aspect of Turpin's upbringing and later life. David was academically inclined and pursued higher education. He graduated from Virginia Tech with a high degree in computer engineering. His academic achievements led to a career in engineering where he held positions at several firms. David met Louise Ann Turpin, who would later become his wife and co-conspirator when she was still a teenager. The couple married in 1985 when David was 23 and Louise was just 16. Their relationship was marked by a significant age difference and quickly became the foundation of their future family dynamics. Louise Turpin had a troubled and tumultuous childhood that likely influenced her later behaviour. She was born Louise Ann Robinette on May 24, 1968 in Princeton, West Virginia. Growing up in a conservative and religious environment, her family life was marked by instability and dysfunction. Her parents, Phyllis and Wayne Robinette, had a strained relationship. Phyllis was known to be domineering, and there were reports of her being abusive towards her children. Louise and her siblings experienced a strict and often harsh upbringing, which included physical and emotional abuse. Now let's dive in more to the Turpin family themselves. From the outside, the Turpin family seemed to adhere to a strict and devout lifestyle. They claimed to be homeschooling their children and kept a low profile. But beneath this veneer, a normalcy was a world of severe abuse and neglect. The 13 children were kept in filthy conditions, often shackled to their beds with chains and padlocks. They were starved and deprived of basic hygiene. They were allowed to bathe only once a year and were often punished for washing their hands above the wrist area, which their parents deemed as playing with water. The children were denied education, medical care, and any semblance of normal childhood. They were allowed to eat only once a day, and their diet consisted mainly of peanut butter sandwiches, frozen burritos, and on occasion, canned vegetables. As a result, many of them were severely malnourished and mentally delayed. So this is a clip from one of their neighbours. They seemed like such a normal family. Sure, the kids were a bit odd and we rarely saw them outside, but nothing that made us suspect anything like this. It's just beyond belief. The Turpins went to great lengths to maintain this. They dressed their children in matching outfits and renewed their wedding vows multiple times, often in Las Vegas, with the children as witnesses. Louise regularly posted pictures of these events on social media, portraying a happy and loving family. Neighbours noticed that the children rarely came outside and had a pale, malnourished appearance, but no one suspected the extent of the abuse. The breaking point came when Jordan Turpin, inspired by watching YouTube videos, realised that the life she and her siblings were living was definitely not normal. She began planning her escape. For 2 years she plotted, eventually convincing her sister to come with her. On that fateful January night, she slipped out of a window, taking one of her siblings with her. And that's when she made that life-changing 911 call. This is a quote from one of the police officers that entered the home that night. "When we entered the Turpin home, it was one of the most disturbing scenes we've ever encountered. The children were malnourished, living in squalor, and some were chained to their beds. It was a house of horrors." The rescue operation that followed brought the Turpin children into the care of authorities. They were taken to hospitals for immediate medical attention and later placed into foster care. The ordeal was far from over, but for the first time, they had a chance at freedom and recovery. After the Turpin children were rescued and removed from their parents' custody, investigators discovered journals kept by some of the older children. These journals provided first-hand accounts of the abuse and neglect they endured, offering harrowing details of their daily lives and the conditions inside the home. The journals documented the children's feelings of isolation, fear, and desperation, as well as their hopes for escape and freedom. The writings helped corroborate the children's allegations of abuse and provided valuable evidence for prosecutors during the legal proceedings against David and Louise Turpin. This aspect of the case highlighted the importance of the children's voices and testimonies in securing justice and holding their parents accountable for their crimes. It also underscored the power of documentation and storytelling as tools for survivors of abuse to share their experience and seek validation and support. The legal proceedings against David and Louise Turpin were really quick. They were charged with multiple counts of child abuse, false imprisonment, torture, and more. In February 2019, they pleaded guilty to over 14 felony counts, and they were sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 25 years. David and Louise Turpin did not provide a clear and coherent explanation for their actions. During court proceedings and investigations, the couple offered various justifications that seemed to reflect their distorted beliefs and perspectives. The Turpins claimed to be deeply religious, adhering to a strict interpretation of Christianity. They suggested that their actions were motivated by their religious convictions, although the specific connection between their religion and the abuse were not clear. Evidence indicated that the Turpins had a strong desire to exert total control over their children. This control extended to all aspects of their lives, including their physical movement, interactions, and even their basic needs like food and hygiene. The Turpins appeared to believe that keeping their children isolated from the outside world would protect them from its perceived evils. This isolation was both physical, by confining them to their home, and psychological, by instilling fear and dependence. Some reports suggested that the Turpins may have even viewed their family as a private reality show, with David Turpin even referring to plans for a TV series about their large family. This delusion of glory and distorted sense of reality likely contributed to their abusive behaviour. But ultimately, the couple's motivations remain somewhat unclear, just as their statements were. I just wanted to include a quote from the testimony of one of the Turpin children. They said, "I want the court to know that our parents took away our whole lives from us. But despite all of this, I believe that with time and support, we will overcome our trauma and live happy lives." Today, the Turpin children are in various stages of recovery. Some have been able to pursue education and are beginning to build their own lives, while others continue to struggle with the deep psychological scars left by years of abuse. Their resilience and determination are nothing short of remarkable. Thank you for joining us today on Morbid Media. If this episode had an impact on you, please share it with others and help raise awareness about the signs of abuse. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. Until next time, stay safe and take care of each other.